This is Jackie, and I am here with the band Me. I'm going to hope the power doesn't go out because where I am, it's about to storm.
Uh-oh.
But I've got the electrifying band right here, and I want to be clear: this is not a reunion. This is not a super group. How is the band Me an evolution from some of your previous work?
Well, to be honest with you, uh, I just wanted to write music again, and Mark wanted to write music again, and we got together, and that's how it all came together. Like we just decided to start playing together again. That's all. And I mean, I wish I had some grand. The whole thing was the way it fell into place. It felt right. And I don't have it was just a moment of time. It all happened all at the right time, and now it's working, and now it's happening. That's the only way I can explain it.
I
I th-
I want to add that's 100%, and I want to add to it that like when Eddie and I were able to get in a room together where there was no interference or anything, it was just him and I, just
Yeah.
getting our ideas out. It just that's what it came to be. Like there was
Yeah.
none of the. It was just all. It was all unwavered, I guess, and I think that's what makes it so special.
Yeah. Yep. And then Mike came along in a little bit after that and made it even more special. And Casey did her big part and made it even more special. And it's just all happening. And it's we're a band now. We
I,
had two practices, and now I feel like we're a band now. So feels good.
and they're very good. They're very good live, which is very exciting. I do want to say Neil says he's waiting to be let in. I don't know if you got a notification or not, or if he's in the right one. Okay, cool. And then I was just going to add to what Ed and Mark were saying, just kind of like them getting back together, and that sound I feel like is undeniable. That creative chemistry between them is undeniable, and they were work in from an outsider's perspective. I was a fan from the beginning, right? I wanted to hear this sound again. But we didn't have any clear defined idea of what this really was, and so when the idea for the casting call came along, and then Mike serving, being incredible at what he does, he kind of created a distance with the music, with his lyrics, that just kind of transformed the band into a whole new thing. And the only reason I'm even on this call is because the origin of the band, right? Because they have gone on to become something so special and unique and beautiful, and it's truly been so cool to watch.
Well, and Casey, how were you sort of like the fairy godmother of this scenario?
I don't think anyone would call me that. But no, I was it's funny. I kind of always had this idea. I saw my favorite band change significantly when Ed Reyes was no longer with them. And it was the presence that I felt was missed. It was a sound that I loved. I identified with from the first time I heard it. And it was missing. He's on 7 of the 8 studio albums that Taking Back Sunday did. And I don't want to spend too much time talking about Taking Back Sunday because this is such a different thing, but it was how I knew who Ed Reyes was. And then when I saw them live in 2024, Mark was no longer with them. Then it felt like it was like a shell of my, former favorite band. And then just kind of having the knowledge that I did have of those two working together and how they wrote, when a friend of mine said, "Hey, Mark's trying to do a solo thing, you should, talk to him." And then I guess Jonas had already been, Ed's son had already kind of been talking with Mark about, "Hey, reach out to my dad," whatever. Then it kind of just organically happened to where they got together.
Yeah.
This
That's basically
definitely
it.
sounds like a very organic process, even though our call right now might feel a little chaotic. I promise you, the rest of this story does seem very organic.
I love that.
Why was it so important to expand beyond your past work?
I didn't look at it. I don't look at it that way. It's just how I write. That band sounded the way it did because I started that band. I wrote a lot of songs. Mark has a way of writing, and I just, to me, it's just starting a new chapter in my life. I've had so many chapters, so many bands, so many chapters, and this is just my new step in life, you know. And it's my, they hate hearing it, but for me, it's my last old man go at it, you know, trying to get my knees back in shape, you know.
Aren't we all? Tell our listeners the unique way the band formed, because I don't think I've read many bios like this.
Well, I mean,
You want to
like
get
what Casey explained, you know, it was the band formed, you know, out of like I said, my son reached out to Mark, and me and Mark got in touch, and you know, we had our talks, and it just flowed. Like we got in the studio, and it just started happening, you know, and then it's like it's happening so well that let's just keep doing it, and that's honestly, I didn't want to be in a band. I was done with music, and I was okay with that. I was okay with maybe being a promoter or tour managing or whatever. But you know, they kind of like, you know, my family rallied around me, and talking to Mark again, and it just and Casey, and it just felt like, why not? Like I can't sit here and be like, you know, the old guy who's, you know, walking away. Like I still got a little fight in me. Why not? You know, and I think that's how the band came together, you know, and it's just we have a natural way of writing music together, and I have a style of writing music, and it's always going to sound like something that sounded like something before, so I can't help that, you know. But I'm I'm very excited to see what happens, honestly. Especially after the last rehearsal, I was very excited.
when
Yeah.
Eddie and I play together, there's an instant. There's so much history, and there's an instant. There's a chemistry that him and I have together where sound is created, and we made sure that like we didn't get in the way of it. That's like the main thing. Like we didn't get in the way of ourselves. We didn't let anyone get in the way of us. It was a sound that we were gonna, you know, it's our time. Like Eddie said, like this is our last, you know, we're gonna go at it again, but we're gonna do it right this time. And I know musically, man, we did it right. We did it the best we've ever done it. You know,
Well, you know, we got to write the songs we wanted to write.
And,
You know,
and
we got to write the songs we wanted to write. You know?
I know that you were asking, you know, how it came to be. And so, yeah, they got in there. And I know Jonas wanted to see his dad do this again. I know he really wanted that. And so then we had the idea of, well, we got this music, but we don't necessarily know that we want a traditional frontman led, blah, 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 blah. So then that was when the idea for the casting call came out, because we were
Yeah.
like, we probably have so many listeners that you know, would want to sing for this. So that's like a kind of a way to have like a audition. And it didn't feel like a contest, because Michael tell you know, he didn't win $100,000 and a new car. But it was, not yet, but he did answer the casting call, right? And his submission was really good. So that was kind of my idea, to get some submissions. And Ed and Mark originally, they were like, we don't understand why we would do this. Like that's so out there, but they were open to it. And because of that, you know, we had two singers that we really, really liked. And there was just something about Mike. And I don't know, Mike, if you wanted to speak to that some.
well, can I want to speak to you saying that, like, you know, we didn't want it, because like I definitely didn't want it. Without question, I was like, this is a horrible idea. And the reason is because there was only one Mike Jansen in there. And out of all of the things, you know what I mean? So someone with this dude's ability coming around is just really something that I didn't think would be possible from doing it this way. But man, I couldn't have been more wrong. I was flat out the most wrong. So, and then, so that's why, you know, Mike is here. And that's what I want to say about it.
And Mike, I heard that once they heard your lyrics, it was just kind of a no-brainer. I think it's really interesting that Eddie and Matt had the instrumentals done, and then you came in with the music, not even knowing the history and experiences these guys went through. And yet when I'm reading the lyrics to your first single, Special, I was like, how did you know all of this and create such a great lyric base having no idea of the background?
Yeah, Mike, how?
Well, I mean, so I've been a songwriter my whole life, and I write music at home constantly, and I get writer's block because I'm writing all of the parts. With this, I had just gotten married. I just come back from a honeymoon, and I just had this like new, optimism and confidence on life, and told my wife like, "Hey, these guys put out, a track with just guitar and drums. I'm gonna write to it." And she was like, "Okay, well, you're gonna get it." We're hyping each other up. And I think I got a call like the day I wrote it. I
Yeah.
I
said
was wondering, I wanted to ask you, Mike, when was that? How long had you been sitting on that demo?
I wrote it in like an hour.
Yeah.
And there was rewrites, there was little rewrites, but the original, I mean, I didn't, it wasn't exactly what it is now. It was like, I made the intro a lower voice, and then I made the end of it like kind of more hardcore, just because it's like, I'm not showing you a final product. I'm showing you like, here's what I can do. Here's
Yeah.
the range of it. But I didn't know the sound I wanted to bring to the band yet, but I knew I had their interest. So I listened to, what they were kind of looking for and tweak things. And then from that point, I had a little time before I was going to fly out just to record the one song. And they sent me 4 other songs, just saying like, if you feel like writing something, go for it. So I knew they weren't looking for a singer. I wasn't sure I was looking to be in a band again, but it was stupid or foolish not to attempt it, not to show up like if Mark and Eddie had asked for someone to show up ready, then it's not the same as someone showing up ready. I told them when I got there after the first day, they were asking if I could stay another day. I said I packed for 2 weeks. I have a
You did.
notebook full of lyrics. I wrote all the songs. I mean, there different variations of what happened, but I came ready to be what they needed if they chose to go the route of having a singer. And they had a little bit of safety in it that they'd already written the music, and there wasn't going to be that clash of a new person coming in and being like, no, the song should go like this. Like the bones of the songs were there and like pretty much finished, and they were great. So my job was to bring something, that worked well with it without trying to copy what they'd already done in the past. The music already has that nostalgic feel of, the early TBS stuff, but I listened to a lot of alternative 90s music, and I'm like, I miss that stuff too. And some of that would sound really cool over this. So that's
Yeah.
kind of what I did with it. And I could see that they were struggling with the idea of even letting me in at that point. I mean, they wouldn't even listen to the songs I'd written when I got there. I had to trick Eddie by playing his guitar part on acoustic, and then him saying, "Hey, that's mine." And I said, "I know." And then I sang over it. He goes, "That's what I wanted this song to be." And I went, "Good."
But I always said this, Mike, because me and you were separated at birth in our past lives. We both share a birthday. We both like each other a lot. Like I felt like I knew you the minute I met you. And when I saw you overpacked, I was sold. I was like, this guy's hungry, and I like that. But I know, like when I have a lick, I know what Mike's gonna put to it already. And Mike does these weird notes, and I go, that's in my head. So it works.
Just guessing.
I did
Just
want to
yes,
say
whatever.
a fun little fact that's the reason I asked Mike how long he'd been sitting on it, was because he apparently had seen this casting call, and I was going, man, some of these submissions, and some of them were really good, but I was like, this is just
Yeah.
not what I want. And I said, oh my God, I remember this guy, Mike Jansen. And so I reached out and was like, hey, you want to hit me up? Let's talk. And then he's like, wait, is this about the casting call thing that me put
Yeah.
out? And I was like, oh my God. So to me, it just felt like the universe, another push from the universe that kind of kept it it felt very outside of our control.
Yeah.
Was it with that first song that everything just sort of clicked, or was there a point in there where you're like, Yeah, right now we're good.
I
I
mean,
mean, for me
it
personally,
wasn't right away. I don't
yeah,
think.
it wasn't. No.
As soon as I heard it, like Casey was like, "Yo, this dude." I just talked to this dude. I know him, but you really have to sit down because I was having like Mike said, maybe Eddie and I both had a hard time sitting down and really giving anything time of day for whatever reason. But like, she was like, "No, you have to listen to this right now. You have to." And I wasn't hearing it. She put it on. We were in the car. I know exactly where we were. We were in Limbrook, right at this red light. And she put it on, and immediately, first line, the first verse is pretty much like exactly what it was when we heard it, and I was like a whole like.
You can curse.
And I was like, literally, I was like, this is the guy. This is the dude. Yeah.
I think Grown Man really sealed the deal, though. If you guys,
Yeah, I was about to say that. That's what I was gonna say. Was like for me, honestly, it was Grown Man. When I heard that chorus line, I was like, yeah, this is good.
He came running outside. He was like, "Mark, you got to come in and listen to this right now." And I was like, "Holy shit!" And then there you go.
and that's going to be our second single. Sorry, I just wanted to point that out to you, Jacqueline.
Nice.
Mike, I'm not trying to blow smoke up your ass or whatever, make you uncomfortable. I genuinely mean that. Okay.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome, dude.
I do have a sneak peek of the lyrics. So I was reading the lyrics. I don't get to hear everything, but I'm like, I see where we're going. And Eddie's taking us to the dark side.
What is happening?
Keep talking.
Star Wars mask.
I love the chaos. I'm a big fan of chaos.
You'd fit right in.
What does Special, the first single, sort of say about the band as a complete unit? And why was it important to put that as your first single and release that out into the world first?
I think I think because nobody really knew what we wanted it to sound like, and that was the first like,
yeah,
this is different. This is cool. I think it's important to show the journey the way that it happened. Grown Man was the second song that we recorded, and that was like, okay, so now we've got this feeling. What do we want to do next? And instrumentally, I had a bunch of options to play with. It's like, which direction do we want to go? More aggression, less, more intimate. And we explored all of that on the album. But yeah, I think Grown Man started more aggressive, and it really is a song about looking inward, not really pointing at anybody else. But it doesn't straight out say that, so people can take it how they want, and people could use it how they want to. Like, I don't care if people have a different viewpoint on what the song means. That's what music is.
Exactly. Everyone should be able to interpret it in their own way. That's the beauty of music.
And then when the second single comes out, it is a song about, being afraid of being so in love.
Yeah.
And that's part of growing up, and it's pretty clear that that's what it's about. So it's like, all right, not everything is going to be in this one way. It's not going to be a recycling of the same song over and over again, which I can't wait for people to hear. I can't wait.
And Casey's already tempted me by saying you guys are very good live, which I'm not shocked to hear that by any means. Where in the songwriting process do you guys get the most catharsis or release? Is it in the songwriting, the recording, or the performing? And it might be different from all of you, and that's fine too.
For me, for each personal person, for me, like, what do you mean? Like the big moment of writing the song or whatever? For me, it's always, I just sit on my couch and I stim a lot, and that's where I get my riffs. And for me to see it grow into something beautiful, that to me is the biggest part for me. And then when I hear Mike's lyrics on it, then I know it's so weird. It's like, I'm so relaxed about it. Like, I'm just like, oh, it's so good. you know, like, but I'm not a bragger. So I'm like private about it. So for me, of course, it's the music, right? Of course, I come up with a sick riff. I love it, but it's just the beauty of watching it all grow. However time it takes, however arguments it takes, it just turns into something beautiful. And like with Mike now, I'm so comfortable with the way he writes that I'm not even worried about the next songs that I write or that Mark writes, or that he writes. So I don't even know if that was the answer, but there you go.
I liked it anyway.
I think
Hi,
that
Neil.
because this record was written so outside of the norm of writing
Yeah.
for any of us, that it might be like once we were able to play it together, because we finished an album and never played together, which is
Yeah.
wild. So playing the songs for the first time as a band was the highlight for me in this project. For me in this project, me and me.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but in other projects, it might be that moment when you guys figure it out, rehearsing a new thing. And then, or it might be when you first hear the recording the way you always imagined it. But because this project started the opposite, I think it was like playing it together for the first time and being like, we could do this.
Yeah.
Neil, what about you? Oh, he's
Can
on
you
mute.
hear us?
Neil, you're muted.
I feel like I'm back in on lockdown.
No, he's
Mule,
muted.
talk. Mule, you're
Hey,
muted.
There you
hey,
go.
hey,
There
hey,
you
hey.
go.
Now
Neil,
I'm gone, right?
where
You
in
see
the
me?
process do you find catharsis?
Same as Mike because we played together. That was actually the
Yeah.
second rehearsal, I think. When we played all the
That's what I
songs
meant. I meant
together.
after the second rehearsal,
Well,
I was
once
like,
we played
perfect.
all the songs together, I was cool. I think that word catharsis. Am I gone now?
Ah, he
Oh,
did. He disappeared. Oh, you're back.
Now you're
yeah, you
back.
can see me. I can. Okay. All right. Yeah. So same as Mike for this, definitely.
And Mark, what about you? He's still here.
Sorry, I had you on mute.
No, you're good.
Man, just knowing that there's a we are great live, and like playing together live and is amazing because the foundation is beautiful. Like this was not easy to get together. I'm gonna be 100% on that. Like this was a very, very, very hard task for everyone involved. With Eddie and I not seeing each other for so long and then coming together and just being in the same room together with Jonas there and Casey being there and Casey mediating the pain that Eddie and I have had to deal with and keep in for so long and trying to see through to make sure that this beautiful thing that could be a thing happened. And it did happen. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful story. I have my old friend back. I have a band. Like this is a beautiful thing, and I want everybody to know about it. And it was. But I want also everybody should know that this was not an easy task for anybody, and there's still so much to do. But we're gonna get it. And this album is the most. I'm so proud of this album, and that's what I want. That's what I think.
Well, and despite how hard it was to sort of get things going, it sounds like now everyone's at a point where there's a bit more ease and confidence.
Yeah. Once the album was made and like mastered, it was like, oh my God, it was such a breath of fresh air. But then leaving like the practices, we just went to Ohio, right where Eddie lives, and we went on this, very farm area. I don't know what the area is. Milan, right? Or Milan,
Yeah.
in Ohio.
No. In Ohio, they say everything wrong, so it's Milan.
Milan.
Yeah.
But we were in Milan, and it was beautiful, and we got to play music together, and we did it so well. So like, it's cool as hell. It's beautiful.
And the full album, All Good Things, comes out July 24th. With all that you guys have been through personally, together and apart, what does success look and feel like now in 2026?
I want to say this really quickly, and you don't have to include this. success for this project looks like these 4 guys getting a stage to have their sound, what they've created, be heard. As an outsider, I think as a fan of the band that the 2 guys were in, it's nice for me to get to hear what they can do together when they're not being kind of held back by corporate whatever, that they can really, that it's this amazing music, and they can kind of get their flowers, so to speak, all of them. Mike's a career musician also, so like that's what I personally, that's success to me, is seeing them be recognized for the talents that they are.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm just a
I've made a
hardcore
living.
kid from Long. Go ahead, just talk.
I was
We
saying,
talk.
I have made a living playing music, but predominantly not my own music. And the bands I was in, I had a lot of fun with them, but there wasn't a lot of, commercial success or financial success with them. So I'm excited to see if this, chapter leads to that. But yeah, I mean, I've always enjoyed playing music, and I've made a living doing it, but this is a different light. I know that Mark wasn't sure if he was going to come back. I knew that Eddie wasn't sure if he was going to ever come back into this. So we're all just excited to. I know that Neil never saw this coming at all. So all of us are like, I think we've got something here. I think we're holding something really, really special. Not to
Neil doesn't have a choice.
nerd out on the name of this song, but we're all.
That's funny. That is funny,
Yeah, I mean, but we're all we know we have something cool, and we're all kind of just like wide-eyed, gonna see what happens.
Yep.
It's very exciting.
Absolutely.
So the album comes out on the 24th of July. What does the rest of this year look like? Do you have anything that you're allowed to say, or that you know of for sure that's confirmed?
Nope, nothing. We got nothing we're allowed to say.
Oh, they're keeping it close to the chest. Well, be sure to get all good things July 24th from the band Me. This is Jackie, thanks to Chorus FM and In the Key of Change.